Welcome to Pioneer FX. Today is the 24th of October, just past 9 p.m. here in the UK. Hope you're doing well and ready for another fantastic week. To start off with, let's have a look at the week ahead, which is very important. I was looking through the key diary events for this upcoming week. To start off from the 25th of October, we've got Australia, New Zealand, and Thailand market holidays. So expecting to see some low volatile movements to kickstart basically from the 25th for Australia and New Zealand. So it's going to be pretty quiet there. Pushing through to Tuesday, we have the US consumer confidence for October. So expecting to see some consumer confidence for any fundamental shifts, any fundamental changes at this moment in time. My fundamental bias still remains the same from last week, Wednesday, since we last met. Another one to notice or to note out from through to this week is we do have the Canada BOC rate decision. So we've got the interest rate decision coming out for Canada. So that's going to be potentially a big one for Canada pushing through. Still expecting some weakness to kick in for Canada, but we'll look into that shortly. And then on Thursday, we've got Japan retail sales and also Germany unemployment rate, which could have an effect on the euro. And we've got the big consumer confidence for Eurozone as well. Pushing through Japan, we've got the interest rate decision on the 28th. So do note these ones out and do keep that timing in as well. So it's on my FX book as well as Forex Factory. Pushing through on Friday, we have the Australia retail sales, another big one to look out for. We could have a major shift on the 29th of October. And we've also got the Q3 prelim Eurozone GDP on Friday. Canada GDP for August. And that's about it, really. So quite an impactful week, actually, looking at this from the entire week. So we've got the GDP for Eurozone to watch out for, the Bank of Japan meeting. We've got Bank of Canada meeting with regards to interest rates. US Q3 GDP and Australia Q3 CPI, which is the inflation for Australia. So we've bottomed that one out. Let's have a look at the CFTC reports from last week. I believe the numbers haven't changed that much or that significantly, but let's just dive into this just to have a greater detail as to what is currently happening. Now with Australia, you can clearly see now commercials are overall long, retail traders are short, and it looks like here they're sort of 50-50, but they're more leaning towards the short side for retail traders. So they're leaning more towards that short side. As I have been mentioning for quite some time, we did have that max right here, which occurred and price started to turn here from the hedges point of view, but you can start to see now, look, large speculators have started to turn, and as they did turn, we started to see a push up for Australia futures. We've been in this run for quite some time now, since the 28th of September, roughly. We did mention that we have currently maxed out. A lot of retail traders must have gone short back in the 28th of September, and price went against them. So pushing through to this week, expecting to see a further push higher. However, you can start to see that retail traders have started to also position themselves to go long. So what I am expecting to see is potentially a retracement first before that push higher. So with this one, since Australia, we're expecting to see it to push up, and also expecting to see some weakness kicking in for the dollar. We could potentially see gold rise as well. Shift back, we'll have a look at the pound. The pound, we've been staying away from it because it's just been pretty choppy here, up and down. Large speculators as well as commercial hedgers are literally in the middle. So still staying away from this one. Not much movement here with regards to the pound. So there's a lot of uncertainty at this moment in time for the pound. So staying away from that one. Not much of a change, to be honest. Looking at this from a large speculator's perspective. Pushing through, we'll have a look at Canada next. So Canada, you can see here, is pretty much like the pound also. But I did mention, since I am expecting to see some weakness for oil to kick in, we could expect to see some weakness for Canada also. However, it looks like large commercial hedgers as well as large speculators. So large speculators, they've been shorting this for quite some time. Since way back 13th of July, you can see price did push down, and now it's actually pushed below that zero mark, and it's currently sitting at around minus 10,000 contracts, but relatively within that short territory. A lot of traders starting to go long here, retail traders that is, because they can see this slight momentum or this slight push higher. So expected to see some weakness to kick in for Canada there. So yeah, since the oil is due to drop, expecting to see Canada to drop too. So expecting to see a push down, really. Plenty of retail traders currently going long on Canada futures. Japan now, we have been calling this one for quite some time. I did mention to you guys that we could expect to see a momentum shift here. Large speculators, overall, they are short. Their bias is short, but they've currently maxed out here, guys. Look at this. It's currently maxed out. Looking at this projection from the last 2 years here, you can say that it is well overdue, a massive retracement here. It's currently maxed out sitting at minus 100,000 contracts here short. And we did see some weakness for the yen, but do know that there could be a turning point here for price to potentially push higher, because retail traders are also short as well. So expecting to see the yen to push up. That's if we do get some volatility as well to kick in. We will have a look at volatility as well. Swiss franc. Swiss franc, we've been calling for longs here for quite some time now. Price has currently maxed out here. Looking at this from the last year or two, there could be some more movement for it to push down lower. However, it's definitely due a retracement. So the moment we start to see hedges turning, as well as large speculators turning, we could potentially see a dramatic shift higher. Reason being, guys, too many traders, retail traders, are currently short. See this red line here? A lot of traders currently short. I got a question. Tim, how's it going? You're right. So Swiss franc, looking for those longs to kick in the moment we get that volatility to push up. Since last week, the week before that, I was expecting to see some volatility to kick in. However, it's been pushing lower and lower. It's all about patience, guys. Looking at the dollar here, commercials extremely short, large speculators overall long. And look at this, guys, retail traders also long. What do you guys expect? Most likely for dollar to sink, is most likely for it to melt. Last week we did see the dollar push lower. It did push higher, but then it ended lower. So what I'm expecting to see here for the dollar here is Yes, large speculators are overall long. We did manage to get that long push higher, but it looks like they have hit maximum contracts here. Looking at it from the last 2 years, you can see that, look, this is well over 30,000, 37,000 contracts. The moment it touches 40, we tend to see a turning point. Let's have a look at it from the max. You can see here from previously, 2019, when it hit the max, it pushed back down. So expecting to see potentially a push higher, but overall for the dollar to melt at current price. Let's zoom into this a bit more. You can see also that retail traders started to go long and they've been taken out as well. So still expecting to see some weakness here for the dollar. Mexican peso, let's look through Mexican peso. Look at that, large speculators overall short, and it currently looks like it has hit a maximum. So we could potentially see Mexican peso push higher. New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar has been all over the place. It pushed higher and now it's currently pushing down. At this moment in time, we can say that large speculators are currently looking short. Large speculators are currently looking short. However, hedgers are overall short. They've been short for quite some time. And the moment we start to see hedgers give up their contracts, we could see large speculators push down even lower. So expecting to see New Zealand lower in the future. And I think that's that for the CFTC report. Yes, we'll have a look at crude oil. Crude oil commercials are overall short, large speculators heavily long at 80%, and also retail traders 64% currently long. So expecting to see a major drop for oil. Our long-term target is at least towards 59. Towards 59 is our first target. So we'll see how this one goes through. It has been pushing up slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, wiping out as many sellers as possible. And also plenty of retail traders currently going long. Yes, looking at the large speculators, they are overall long. However, commercial hedges have been shorting this for quite some time, hence the reason why price has been pushing up. But it looks like the moment they give up their contracts, commercial hedges give up their contracts, we could see some major weakness through the crude oil, even though, yes, the demand has been increasingly high, hence the reason why the price of oil has been through the roof at this moment in time. But a lot of investors are currently looking at this and they are positioning themselves to go long as well, but I don't see it going. I don't see it going above 70, basically $70 a barrel. So we'll see how this one goes. And also gold. Let's have a look at gold and palladium. Gold, you can see here, large speculators are overall long, and also commercials, they are heavily short. So expecting to see dollar to push up. As I did mention last week, we were looking for longs and it has been pushing up since last week. So we will look into this as well. We'll dive into the charts shortly to look through this as well. And let's just finish up with palladium. Yeah, so with regards to palladium, large speculators were overall short. We started to see a drop down, but it looks like there is a turning point here now. Large speculators are starting to position themselves to go long, so we could potentially see palladium push higher, push through higher in the future due to dollar weakness as well. So that should potentially push palladium higher. Let's dive through the charts now. Since Australia, we were looking for longs and the dollar weakness, we did manage to see we actually caught AUDUSD from well back down here with our psychological stop loss. So let's actually clear the chart a bit more just to see where we are in terms of price action. Let's just actually clear the whole lot just to see where we are. Flick over to the daily. So looking at this, guys, AUDUSD, we have been calling for longs. Yes, we have been profiting from it actually from way back down here, more than 300 pips. So what to expect now, and for those who are willing to actually get onto this trade, because since then my bias hasn't changed yet. So let's dive through this and keep a net neutral bias whilst analyzing this. So you can see here, there was a turning point back in March 2021, retest, and then it pushed through, retest again. So this is a strong level, guys. And a lot of traders are currently looking at this right now and they're thinking, yep, it looks like a resistance has been hit here. So they're more or less potentially looking to short AUDUSD. So this is a very, very interesting area. Looking at this support area here at 0.76. So expecting for price to pierce through 0.76. Let's see if we can see a clear support. That's a lovely support there. And can we see another one here? Not quite. Actually, we can, yeah, from way back. And we'll stick one down here at the bottom for a decent support. So that's that one on the daily. Let's see if we can place some long-term trends. You can see this is a trend line, a trend forming over here. We can also see a long-term trend of that one just here. And there's another one here. Flick over to the 4 hourly. You can see that this long-term trend line was broken. Price retested. There was a lovely bounce and pushed up and kept on pushing up. So how many pushes did we have to the upside on the 4 hourly? We had that first push, consolidation, stop loss hunted, second push. I would class this as a second push here, consolidation, and then that third push. So what to expect now is a retracement perhaps, or a major move potentially lower to start off this week. But do bear in mind, guys, what they're trying to print right now is they're trying to print sellers right here. They're trying to attract as many sellers as possible. So what to expect now, because we've had that impulsive wave. Could we actually gauge to see another move higher? Yes, it's very possible. But what I'm expecting is potentially a meltdown or basically a break of this trend line first, and then a push higher to attract more sellers into the market, push even lower to show another lower low perhaps, and then we'll probably have a breakthrough of that 0.755. There's a 0.76 as well. So 0.76, let me actually put that in, 0.76 right here. We could potentially see 0.76 being targeted and then a retracement down before pushing higher. To 0.77 as our long-term target. Yeah, just slightly below it. So expecting to see 0.77, perhaps through to this week if we are lucky. But for those who are actually looking to get in, we could potentially, this could be our golden entry here for those who are looking for re-entries. Mark that as a yellow so we could see it a bit more clearly. And then in terms of our psychological stops, the last impulsive wave, this is a massive wave higher. So just to be on the safe side, we could potentially have a retracement of that 38.2 or even a bigger retracement down, but I don't see it going down that low. Get rid of this. So our psychological stop loss, just to be on the safe side, is below that 113. Yes, it does look miles away, but you never know. Anything could happen within the market. So it's just, we're better to stay safe, place our psychological stops there in case it does go lower. We could potentially enter at discounted rates. So that's that one in terms of AUDUSD. Definitely looking to re-enter the market if it does retrace towards that 38.2. So do keep an eye out of that one. Or if we get a better retracement, a deeper retracement, I will keep you guys informed. AUDUSD, number one trade, it has been pushing higher. UJ, I called this one last week. I've been screaming about it last week as well. I did mention to you guys that we did have that divergence here on price. Looking at it from last week there on the RSI, and it played out perfectly, guys. It played out absolutely perfectly. Massive divergence here. Called this one out, expecting to see a push lower, and it basically followed through this pink line. So expecting to see potentially, let's have a look at this now even further. So for those who caught it at those highs, well done. What could happen next is basically price to potentially pierce through the top, but once more before finally dropping like a bombshell for UJ. Because at this moment in time, let me flick through the daily, actually, you can see it a lot more clearly. We could see another spike higher through to this week. We could have another spike higher. And if it does spike higher, massive discounted rate around this area here for price to melt through. Expecting 112 to be targeted through to this week. Since the yen is bound to rise. Let's have a look at volatility actually. Before we start jumping into the yen, reason why I've been calling for the yen long is because volatility, I'm expecting to see it push higher through to these levels here. This is the golden area here now. What I'm expecting to see is potentially a spike lower, which I mentioned last Wednesday, which we are currently having. So start of this week, expecting to see a spike lower before pushing higher. Let's have a look at it on Coinbase. So if we're expecting to see volatility, let's see where we are with volatility before we jump the gun. You can see here, look, large speculators are overall short. Retail traders have positioned themselves to go short. So liquidity, where does liquidity lie? If there's retail traders going short, large speculators pushing lower, and lo and behold, hedgers, they're overall starting to position themselves to go long. So what to expect here now? Expected to see volatility to spike back up. Yes, we had that spike lower below 15, which is what I was expecting. Last week, we had that spike lower and then it opened up with a massive gap higher. So what to expect now is potentially we could go a bit lower, but long term, expecting to see volatility push higher through to this week. More longevity, basically looking to go long for the volatility. So starting to see some form of volatility spikes ahead in the future. So what to expect if we do get volatility spike? The yen is most likely bound to rise. And if that happens, we're going to see massive retracements on USD's JPY. So we've been calling for shorts for this one for quite some time. Even in these levels here, most of it retraced all the way higher. Our psychological stop has been at 115.463. And we are currently at discounted price, guys. We are a lovely discounted price. Let's have a look at it on the standard deviation. We're currently on the standard deviation, guys. We're sitting at plus 2.63. This is a massive area, guys. For those who are not looking to short UJ, well, now is the best time to actually start shorting UJ, because this was a massive spike up to attract plenty of retail traders to go long. So let's have a look at it from basically the get-go, from the start here. UJ here, you can see massive spike up, yeah, on the daily time frame. We'll draw some supports, we'll draw some resistances. We'll draw these traps basically that retail traders are currently looking at, and we'll shift it the other way. That's all it is, guys. It's just a market play area for the retail traders to get hunted and stop hunted. So yeah, let's have a look at this in better detail now. You can see that this is a sell area, loads of traders selling this, and look at that. Price has pierced above that area. So what to expect? We're going to have another push higher, potentially a play around, and then shift down, retrace, shift down, retrace, shift down. That's that on the daily time frame. Flick over to the 4 hourly. This is exciting. This is absolutely exciting. Exciting times for UJ. You can see here, look, the resistance, and this one just pushed all the way up. This was a clear liquidity grab, and now currently consolidating. So what to expect through to this week now? Let's put some trend lines in. Love trend lines. Let's have a look at this. So we've got a trend here, okay? 0.1, which is down here. 0.2, and there's that third touch. So we've got 0.1 here. We've got 0.2. Now we're approaching that third touch. Now we're approaching the most important touch. So what to expect through to this week? So expected to see some form of a rejection for price to go higher from this third touch to attract even more buyers potentially in these zones, in these areas. Liquidate everyone because they're looking left, and they're most likely going to buy heavily in this area here. So this will be our discounted area. 115 is our mark basically for UJ to react from and drop lower. So our first target, 111, for it to be targeted. Our discounted rate is at 115. Discounted rate at 115. Okay. In terms of psychological stop loss, now this is going to be, we'll have a look at this. This was a consolidated area. Price shifted higher and made another high, and currently consolidated and now pushing lower. So expecting to see a push higher, attract more buyers before that meltdown. In terms of stops, we'll keep it nice and tight, slightly above that 113. This is going to be our psychological stop loss, 115.439. And we're targeting those lows. So if price does come higher in this area over here, this is going to be a fantastic trade to push lower. So we can see that first target there. Second target, expecting to see price to come towards these lows here. Where's my tool here? This area over here will be our second target. second long-term target. So expecting to see price to push through a nice 20% trade, 1 to 20, just by holding it simply. So UJ, this is going to be an exciting one for UJ. I do recommend for those who haven't actually started looking at this to position yourselves to go actually short from these levels, current levels. And if market does retrace, we could enter at a discounted rate for UJ. So this is UJ at the moment. Since last week and the week before that, we have been calling shorts for UJ. Last week we managed to catch a lovely sell. For the who actually caught UJ last week? Did anyone catch UJ? I've been selling this throughout, even though it has been pushing higher up towards these highs now. It's looking very, very exciting. USD Swiss franc. This one's pushing through now. We were short from all the way up here. Lovely trade. Expecting to target. So my target is still at 0.91, expecting to see 0.91. Nothing has changed here. For those who are looking to enter this one, I don't see it retrace at any time soon. I expected to see 0.91 as our target. So that's that one. For those who are looking for entries, at the moment, UJ is looking fantastic. AUDUSD's already hit those highs, but for those who are looking for the retracements, that would be a perfect trade to enter. New Zealand Swiss franc. This was a beautiful trade last week. It pushed all the way up. It hit our psychological stop loss. I was extremely selling this one during these highs here. Oh, Jermaine caught UJ. You know. Yeah, so New Zealand Swiss franc, guys. This is going to be another killer. Expecting 0.625 to be targeted. Yes, a lot of traders currently long here. Looking at this from a daily perspective, guys. On a daily perspective, let's have a look at the standard deviation indicator. Plenty of room for it to come down. It's sitting at 1.26. We caught it at these extreme highs of up here. Yeah, expecting for this one to shift down. In terms of retracements through to this week, let me just clear this, and this, and this. Let's have a look at this at a better detail now. In terms of psychological stops, for those who are looking for entries for this one, I do suggest you move your psychological stop loss above that 113, just to be on the safe side. At the moment, it's sitting at 61.8. Traders are most definitely looking left now on the daily time frame. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of a few lines just so that we can see clearly where we are and where we are bound to head to. Flick over to the daily time frame. You can see that this trend, a lot of traders were looking at this and they're most likely bound to go higher because they think that the price is gonna shift higher. So we need to have a look at this in greater detail. New Zealand Swiss franc is very choppy, so you need to keep a close eye on it, you know, a close watch. You can see these crazy wicks. Look at this back in 2015, massive wick down, liquidated everyone before making that shift higher. And again, previously, back in, when was this? 2020, last year. So what to expect? We could potentially see a wick through higher, take out everyone before making that major shift lower. That would be a beautiful trade. I love those wicks. So on the daily time frame, we've got this trend line here. Okay, traders are looking at this. Price broke through the trend line, hit the bottom, pushed higher. Push over to the 4 hourly now. And and you've got a resistance there, intermediate resistance. We've got another one sitting right here. So this support. So what to expect through to this week is potentially a shift higher. High, low. Wick through, expecting to see a wick through higher, potentially even above our psychological stops before that major meltdown, targeting this one, and then targeting that long-term target of 0.625. Whoops. So that's what I'm expecting for NZDCHF. For those who are looking to enter, these areas here will be our beautiful areas, our golden zones, basically, for entries is well up there. But do note, guys, on the daily time frame, looking at this from a standard deviation point perspective, it's at 1.35. It was at 2.35 back here. So it's already hit the 2.3s. It's already hit the 2s. It's bound to push lower. It's bound to come lower. Liquidities have been grabbed in order for them to potentially push it or draw it higher. At this moment in time, loads of traders are actually looking to potentially long this one. So that's your point one here. Point two, can we have a push higher? And then the third touch of this trend line. We'll keep a close watch on this one through to this week. Palladium, my baby, Palladium. We managed to catch this one back in, when was this? It was last month, actually, this one here. October, yeah, if I remember. Yeah, we managed to catch that nice run up. I did mention to you guys to take your profits off the table at 2189 because we could have a retracement. So at this moment in time, let's just clear this. Actually, let's not clear this. Because I did mention to you guys, this is the golden area, the 38.2, the 88.6. This area here, guys, if we have a wick down, this is a beautiful area to position yourselves to potentially start to go long. Let's have a look at it from the start, actually, because looking to actually re-enter Palladium in the future. So let's have a look. I'm currently long at the moment, but I'm looking for a better price to potentially re-enter Palladium in the long term. So daily right here, we've got another daily here, a daily shift. Always look for those daily shifts. They do play a key role for the setup of the future. So you can see here, it's currently, guys, on the daily, it's at minus 1.6. Back here, it was at minus 2 right here. So for those who did catch it at those lows and they're willing to hold it, I strongly suggest you actually hold this one, because expecting to see a major shift higher, potentially towards 2,500, 2.2 to be met, 2,500, and in the future at 3,000. So plenty of room for this bad boy to push higher. In terms of trend, 0.1, 0.2, where's that third touch on the daily? We could also draw another trend here. 0.1, 0.2. Okay, and shift over to the 4-hourly. So you can see it's pretty choppy here at the moment. What it's bound to do now, what I am expecting to see, because we're starting to see what it's trying to paint at the moment. And in terms of painting here, can we draw any intermediate supports and resistances? Right here. Okay. So what to expect through to this week now? A lot of traders are seeing this. They can see a massive M. They love M's, don't they? Stop loss high. They're expecting to see this one to push lower, potentially lower. It could potentially bounce off it again, show a lovely pin bar before pushing higher and then attracting traders to go short again. before breaking that 2-100 barrier and targeting 2474. So this one here, in terms of stops, to be on the safe side, let's have a look at this better in a better detail. Yeah, so 113 is safe in here, in this area here. And yeah, look at that. It literally going to bounce off our 88.6 without even drawing my fibs. We put our arrows expecting to see where it's bound to hit. This is going to be a discounted rate right here for palladium. But for now, I highly suggest you guys to start to position yourselves to go long at current price. We could potentially see it draw higher, potentially before targeting this area, consolidating and then breaking through. So two scenarios there, excuse me, for palladium. Our first target of 2473 to be targeted. Let's see how this one plays out. Should play out relatively well. Standard deviation is well below zero, so pretty safe. Oil right here, last week Friday, it pierced right the way high, took out stop losses here, and now what traders are thinking now, we did have a divergence on price as well, so this could be our discounted area or discounted rate that I spoke about last week on Wednesday. It's currently our our discounted rate. Psychological stop loss at 86, expecting this one to potentially push higher, wick through higher before melting down. Targeting this one here, 81, first point of target, then 79.3, 76, and then eventually towards 70, and then 59 as my long-term target. 70 and then 59, there's my long-term target right here. So expecting for oil to push it well lower, because at the moment a lot of traders are looking at this and it looks extremely bullish at the moment. Daily time frame is currently sitting at 2.38 standard deviation. Plenty of room for it to fucking drop. Yeah. Gold. This one here was a beautiful trade last week. I did mention to you guys expecting to see gold to push higher. So it did, and so it done. Let's have a look at it now just to see where we are. It looks like there is a resistance here now trying to play out right here. And let's see now where we are in terms of gold and where it's likely to project to in the future. Right here, and we got another one right here. So we know where we are in terms of fundamentals, we know where we are in terms of CFTCs and the big boys, and we know how these guys are tricking us at this moment in time. So a lot of traders right now, they're looking left. They can see here that there is a resistance here, clearly on the 4-hour right here, resistance, resistance, resistance. Massive spike there. They're thinking lower. They're most definitely thinking lower, and we're going to take it the other way simply because of dollar weakness, expecting for gold to push higher. So what to expect through to this week is we could have a retracement lower, potentially breakthrough of this trend line, attract more sellers before pushing higher towards that 1830. And then potentially higher towards 1900. Back to 1900, it should most likely go for gold. In terms of stops there, in terms of stops, I think a safer place to put it now for those who are looking for entries is at 113, just below that. So we could see this is going to be our discounted area, discounted zone, okay, for gold. Looking at this from the daily, guys, it's sitting at minus 0.441. On the 4 hourly, it's sitting at plus 1.541. So expecting to see a retracement lower, potentially towards -1 or -2. If it comes towards -1, -2 around 1740, this is going to be a perfect area for entries for gold. But at the moment, it looks extremely, it doesn't look that high, but expecting for it to drop lower before pushing higher. But yeah, targeting these targets at 1860 and 1900 as our long-term targets for gold. And that's that really. Have I missed anything? AUDCAD, oh, this was a beautiful trade, guys, last week. And the week before that, it finally pushed through, it finally gave way. We have been buying this since it came down towards these lows here of -2 on the standard deviation. So currently still targeting 0.93, and then our long-term target of 0.937. So this one still stands. At the moment, I do not, well, if it does retraces lower, ideally, realistically, discounted prices will be around here for AUDCAD, but at the moment, it's pushing through. It's pushing fantastically. So still holding on to that one. And the dollar, this one melt, well, it didn't really melt. It pushed through as that first push lower. So expecting to see some weakness kicking in. Let's have a look at it now in terms of where we are. And standard deviation is -0.4. Standard deviation on the daily is still at 1.2. Expected to see this one to drop down fairly significantly. Let's clear the chart. Let's just see where we are in terms of price action for the dollar. Very important, this. So we've got that resistance up there at 94.6. We've got a support. Where are you, bad boy? Support sitting right here. And it's been fairly choppy here in the middle, so we can stick one right there. Flick over to the 4 hourly. Actually, go back to the daily, forgot the trend. So trend at the moment, definitely looking long. It has broken through 93.5. Most likely traders are bound to look left. And we've got this support here when we've got another intermediate on saying, no, that's not really a support. Draw another one there. Yeah, so this is a beautiful area for price to potentially drop lower, attract traders to go long before that shift down, expecting for price to be hit around here, retrace, and then target 92. Yeah, 92 is going to be a beautiful target for the dollar. So that's our target for the dollar. Retracement 94 will be a discounted rate for the DX. Discounted rate right here. In terms of stops, I'm going to be safe for that one. Yeah, impulse right there. So psychological stop loss above the 113, and you're safe and sound for the dollar. Yeah. In terms of breakouts, we could potentially see this area being broken out to attract plenty of buyers to come into the market, and price goes against them. So yeah, expecting that. VIX. Last week, Wednesday, I did expect to see, I did mention we could have a a push lower, which we have currently hit. So yeah, expecting to see now a bit of manipulation, potentially consolidation, sorry, towards these lows, liquidities to be grabbed around here or even lower for potentially the VIX to rise from. Definitely due a move higher on the daily time frame. It's currently sitting at -1 standard deviation, so plenty of room to the upside. Large speculators have currently maxed out on selling this one. They did manage to get what they wanted, but definitely due a push higher, because there's a lot of liquidity lying around 26 and 30. So expecting for 26 and 30 to be targeted through to this week. And that's that, to be honest with you. Is there any questions before I finish up? So quite an extensive Sunday breakdown for you guys for these major setups for AU long, UJ short, USD Swiss franc short, New Zealand Swiss franc, excuse me, short, palladium to push higher, oil to drop, dollar to push higher, and AUDCAD to push higher, dollar melt, and volatility to push higher. Is there any questions? Any questions, Jermaine? Hope you have a fantastic week, bro. And yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. If there's any questions, again, feel free to just type in the chat. Let me know through Telegram. And yeah, have a pleasant week, bro. And yeah, I'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks once again. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Bye-bye.